Welcome to the Shoot It Straight podcast. We're struggling this morning.
Welcome, everybody. Yeah, this is like take 7 just to get the opening credits rolling.
It's actually like take 2, but normally we actually slide right in. We're normally pretty quick to just warm up and get after it. Maybe it's because it is Monday morning when we record, but maybe because we did it a little earlier than we normally do. We normally get our a brain warm up.
My brain's warm. I worked out. I'm ready to rock.
You act like I didn't work out too.
I'm well fed.
Me
trained
too.
And I've already done some work. I mean,
slept for 10 hours.
Yeah, you sleep a lot.
I do.
You don't even see the evening football games come on Sunday night.
The evening games are 3:30, and then they finish, and then I go to bed. It's perfect.
Actually, I think are they 2:30 for us? Or no, it's 3:30.
It's 3:30 because it's 4:30 on the
yeah.
Which
is great. That's like the perfect time for me to watch football on Sundays.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people would agree. I don't think there's that many people that enjoy, waiting for California to wake the fuck up and participate in football.
I did see a ton of people stayed up to watch the Colorado game on Saturday night. It started at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock our time.
The bandwagoners.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he is, primetime. He is good TV. It is fun to watch him.
Right, but the only reason anybody's watching is because of...
So... Who cares? Why they're watching? They're watching.
It's just funny. But yeah, I mean, he's going to win games to be continued. But
I mean, they barely won that one, but, I didn't see the whole thing. But, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's late.
It's a very, very late game. I mean, they're just in Colorado, too. So, I mean, that's late.
That's a late hour. But anyway, it's
You can tell by the theme of the show, Erika and I do not enjoy late nights. We're debating the Nickelback concert on Thursday, which, doors are at 6:30, so that means
it's usually when I'm rolling into bed.
Yeah, so that's when Erika's going to bed. So here we are, there's 3 acts. So there's an opener, I don't know who it is, but there's Brantley Gilbert, who I'd love to see, and then Nickelback. So I mean, is the headliner. So I mean, you're thinking Brantley's gonna come on at 8, Nickelback's on at 9:30, is what I suspect. So
where does that come from? They're literally the doors open at 5:30. I swear
doors
to
are
God.
At 6:30.
The concert starts at 6:30.
Okay, so I mean, first guy plays for an hour. Brantley plays for an hour and a half.
They'll play for an hour, and then Nickelback will come on.
9 o'clock. I don't know if you're ready for that.
Well, I was supposed to go to Fort Worth eventually too. I might want to do that instead and go to sleep at 6:30 p.m.
Well, maybe Squat and I will go to Nickelback.
I'm not the only one. Rock. So what happened this week was the NSYNC tease or whatever is going to happen, right? So our crowd, our millennial crowd is Nickelback. NSYNC's coming. And then the comments on a lot of those posts are like, please hold the concert at 3 p.m. We're not the only ones. We are not the only ones. The the NSYNC fans all want a 3 p.m. Be done by 6. Go home, eat some dinner, and go to bed. That's what we want.
And adequate parking, start at 2 p.m.
Yeah, adequate parking and the whole thing. You can just tell me that my hair's messed up.
Your hair was looking wild. I was trying to, keep it, good for the podcast.
How you did the man.
Yeah, I was like, hey, do some of this with your hair. If you're listening on Spotify, I was trying to
my
let
hair's
Erika
gotten
know her
so
hair
thick.
was getting wild.
Real talk, my hair's gotten so thick over the last couple of years. I mean, over years and years and years. Not that this matters to anybody, but it's wild and it's different than it used to be. So I'm managing it is different. You seriously don't think this is my hair, but it is.
I'm very proud of you for growing.
I think you're jealous, hair. Actually. You're really jealous.
What, that you can grow hair and I can't?
Yeah, you're like, oh, it's your weave. And I'm like, no, it's not. I definitely have had plenty of weaves in my life, but this all natural.
My hair is working its way back since I'm healthy now. And
that's what I'm saying. Same.
I literally noticed a loss in my hair when I drank a lot of alcohol, and now it's growing back on its own. And I don't, I mean, I did a little bit of Rogaine, but I haven't done it in a while. And literally the girl that cuts my hair is like, I think your hair's coming back in. And then Mark, I think, even noticed, he was like, your hair's not, as receding as it used to be.
Yes.
So it's crazy. And that was 5 years ago. I noticed, someone finally took a video of me from the top down, and I was like, oh my God, is that the top of my head? And I was so balding, and then now it's not as bad, and it's years later, so it should have got worse. But I think it's because I've gotten healthy that my hair is grown back.
100%. I think that's 100% true. I mean, I've never thought that your hair is really bad. I know that's kind of your thing. You're kind of self-conscious about it. I don't ever look at you and think, oh my God, he's balding or ew or whatever. You think that, and maybe it's just your own thing, and that's fine. We all have those, but I think your hair looks good. But I'm a big believer in hair getting healthier and being a reflection of like your internal health for sure, because I've lived it. Mm-hmm. And I think what's hard about it is it just takes so much time. Like it does truly take years. It's just not, hair is just not one of those instantaneous things. Like a lot of people, I mean, most people's hair doesn't grow that fast to see the immediate effect, but you and I have been taking care of ourselves over the years. And, you know, you had your thing with alcohol, and I just kind of had my own internal health struggles and was in and out of surgeries and just like all of the drugs that I was being pumped full of. And just, I think that truly does take a big effect on you. Anesthesia, like all that stuff can really affect, obviously, your body, but just we eat a shit ton of protein and all of that stuff. And I really just think that that's made a big difference coming from someone who has had lifelong thin, shitty hair that couldn't like barely go past my chin without it just looking so terrible. It's really wild.
Yeah, I was never able to. There was when I was in college, everyone was kind of doing the long hair thing.
Yeah,
and I couldn't participate. I got it like I think it came down to like past my eyes.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, this looks ridiculous. Like, this is not going to work. And then, because it's so thin, I think, too.
Yes.
Except for on the sides. I really like thick hair on the sides. But, like, when it grew out, like, it was just everyone had it. And I was like, no. And, yeah, and so people, if you're a follower of my Instagram page, you'll notice I wear a hat all the time. And it's because, like, when I'm looking down or doing an exercise or something and the video sees like the top of my head, which pretty much all exercise, you end up like moving your head around, you know? So it's like, it's unavoidable that you kind of get like in that position where you see the top of my head. And so I'm like, okay, hats. Just always hats.
Well, hats look good too.
Yeah, I really like hats. And like, you know, I didn't wear hats for a long time. And then, I mean, sometimes when I'm golfing, I'll take my hat off just because sometimes it gets so sweaty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need my hat to like air out for a second because I'm just wearing this wet hat. And like, I buy the best hats, Melon, shout out, like, I buy and wear the best hats, and like they just nothing can stand up to the amount of sweat that you get on a 110-degree Oklahoma day.
No, and I just washed like a handful of your hats, and they were pretty bad. Yeah. They were white.
Yeah.
And they were black.
Yeah, they used to be black
from sweat.
Yeah.
Guess you're got your electrolytes though. You got your salt going on.
Oh, I definitely got my salt going on. Salt is a food group in my life.
Salt is a food group in your life. Well, this hair conversation is kind of like our topic today, actually. I mean, sort of related. I think, you know, talking to people about self-fulfilling prophecies in a way of like these beliefs that we have of, well, my hair is thin forever, so I'm never going to be able to change it. It's kind of the same thing as our topic today, which is like, well, I'm getting older, so I guess I'm fucked in my health and fitness. It's just going to go downhill from here. And people are saying that at our age, and we're in our mid-30s. So It's like, guys, we're not even halfway through life, and we're already committing to just being downhill from here. Like, what a shitty place to be.
Well, and unfortunately, if they don't do anything about it, they are correct.
That's correct.
Like, if you continue to eat unhealthy, party all every weekend like you did, you know, when you were in your 20s, and you're not bouncing back, and then now it's later and later, and you're not exercising or taking care of yourself, like you actually are kind of fucked.
Well, that's what I mean. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is going to get worse.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like one thing that resonated me. I've heard this now decades ago. It was like, and now we're obsessed with it in this day and age. We're obsessed with this in 2023, which is labeling. And the thing I heard a long time ago was like, you know, your belief system around just your skill set or what you think that you are. And an example was given to me that I think about all the time is like, I'm bad at math. And then you think that you're bad at math forever and ever and ever, and that you're just never going to get better at math. Or I'm bad at working with computers. I'm bad at technology. And so you just think that for the rest of your life instead of just being like, actually, I've just been told that, or someone said that to me, or my parents said this to me, and I just think about it, and that's just what I am. And it's like, what a shitty way to like live. And we do it subconsciously too. I think there's just so many like things that we've been told, well, this is just the way that it is, and there's nothing more untrue. I think that you and I are testaments to that. There's just, whether it's your career or how you're living your life or your body, people's body compositions, they just think, well, I'm just meant to be thick, and I'm just going to be fat, and I'm just skinny, or I can't get strong. And it's like, Sure, genetics is at play in all of these things. I'm not sitting here saying that, a 6 foot tall person is going to be really great at being a ballerina or whatever, but like we can do a lot of things, and we can definitely straighten and correct belief systems and shift them big time.
Right.
And I think that this one that we're going to talk about today is like a big one. It's a big problem.
Yeah, and that can be at any age too. We're not just talking about people our age. Like in this conversation today, we're going to talk about people that are in their 80s that can still make progress in multiple ways.
100%. We've both worked with 70-year-olds now, multiple different clients.
I've worked with multiple 80-year-olds.
And they build lean mass, they lose body fat, they get their bone density improves, their energy levels, they eat better. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. And I think, you're absolutely right. And it's tough because we both have, friends our age that kind of have these belief systems, but also like our parents, generation of just kind of feeling like, well, we're old. And it's like, no, I hope you don't. I really wish you didn't think that way. There's several decades left, and you're already sort of just committing to the decline.
And you got to think with like modern medicine, like, if you're in your 60s, you probably still got 30 years left at least, maybe 40, as things get better and better. Like you're not really that close to, you're still got a third of life at least left. Like there's a lot of things you can still do that you should still be able to do well for a long time.
Yeah, I actually don't think our life expectancy has been increasing over the last several years. It's actually back to...
It hasn't, but I mean, I still think a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to live a long time.
And the problem with that, though, is their quality of life does not improve. Let's be clear about that. So maybe let's just say it goes from 72 to 75. That doesn't mean those last 3 years are better.
Yeah.
It just means that we're able to medically keep people alive.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you're living a thriving, awesome life.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, on average, it is declining, but there's going to be a lot of people that I think are going to live to be 100 plus. And, I just watched a video last night of this World War II vet in 99 having his first hibachi grill experience, and he loved it. So, I mean, we're talking like a lot of people are going to live to be that old, and it's going to be awesome. So, how physically capable you are of doing things is going to be dependent on how you treat yourself right now, no matter what age you're at.
Yeah. So let's start at the top, and I think we've touched on this already, but it's like, first of all, let go of that belief. Easier said than done, but no matter where you're at, I think it can feel like you're going to be a certain way for forever. It's like when you're in a bad breakup or something and you're like, I feel so sad and it's never going to get better than this.
Right.
We tend to just think that in whatever situation that we're in, or if you're sick or if you're hospitalized or if you're injured, it really does feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get better. I think we really underestimate the power of being able to shift that, and the power of a year or 6 months, which we've talked about before. Yeah, maybe a couple days things are going to be a lot of the same or worse, but we have to start thinking like a little bit longer term and know that it is absolutely possible to turn things around when it comes to your health.
Yeah. And I think, the earlier you can recognize this, obviously the better. Where they say like the best time to start anything was 10 years ago and the second best time was right now. So like where this conversation the idea for this conversation came up for me was watching people on the golf course. And some of the nicest people I've ever played with, you watch them through the years, you go play with them again. They haven't gotten any better. I mean, granted, like golf is also a game where you need to practice, but you start to notice like they can't quite do the things they used to do, like the shots they make, the positions they're in, even just their setup posture, which really doesn't have a ton to do with the skill of the game, right? Like, how you're actually addressing the ball. You can tell a lot by someone's physical condition by just that alone. So you start to see those things deteriorate. And sadly, if you're noticing that things are declining for you in your physical body, like you're not capable of doing the things you once were able to do, that's probably not going to just magically bounce back in a few years. That's going to keep going down. And as you get older, it's going to be faster and faster, unfortunately, unless you do something about it. And luckily, there is something you can do about it. You can just work out. You can get stronger. That helps you mentally and physically. So it can be a very little amount of work. It can be like a very minimal dose of this stuff to start getting better and better. But it's terrible to watch this happen to people, and they talk about it all the time. Like I can't do that anymore, and we talk about it, and we just said that, and it's just unfortunate to watch. So my message is like we can get started very soon and see a big difference fast.
Yeah, and I think like why do it's be interesting to kind of unpack why we think people settle into like a belief and just sort of accept it, because I do think there's a I don't know if it's a defense mechanism or something to that effect for some people, where it's just like, well, it's easier for me to just settle into the fact that I'm getting older than to actually do something about it.
Right.
Do you agree that that's a lot of people, or is it, what else is it?
That's a good question. I mean, I see it. We see it happen all the time, and then we also see people that do something about it. So, like, I mean, there's just both sides of the coin here.
Yeah, one thing this is another thing that I've heard. I don't know if it was Hormozy or who I was listening to, but we hear a lot of people are afraid of failure, and I think that that's not true. I don't think people are afraid of failure. People are afraid of what other people will think if they fail. Is the difference. Because like if nobody was watching and you failed at something, like would you care? It's like an interesting thing to think about. Would you care if nobody knew or found out about a failure? Like probably not really. Like if you think about it, it's like, not really. Like think about something that's kind of terrifying, like giving a new presentation in front of a new group of people or in front of your boss or in front of your team. And like, that's terrifying. But if it's like, it was just you, like kind of fucking up your speech in front of nobody, would you care? And the answer is probably not really that much.
Yeah.
There's some people, like there's some self-accountability where you kind of wish that it, but it's like, are we afraid of failing, or are we afraid of like what other people will think? And I do really think that that is the crux of so many people's issues with stuff like this. And this can apply to so many different situations where we're really worried about what other people think. And there is value in that, because there are other people. That's how we exist in society, and that's how we have success and failure, and it's how we make money, is like other people. We know that we can't exist just solo by ourselves. But if you let go of what other people are thinking, so in the example of health and fitness we talk about all the time, like being able to set boundaries around food or alcohol, being able to go to bed earlier than everyone wanting to stay out and party all night, being able to like live your actual best life and make those sacrifices, go out to eat less and food prep at home and say no to happy hour, or whatever these like kind of people pleasing tendencies are. Even if you don't think that you're a people pleaser, we're like kind of programmed to act a certain way based on what other people are thinking of us or pressuring us to do. And it's just something that I think about a lot with my clients, but I think it has a lot to do with like this, instead of it being like a fear of failure or a defense mechanism, I think it's just like we're so programmed to do what we think other people want us to do or whatever, that we're not living for ourselves. Like, because I do believe that most people want to be healthier and feel good. I really do believe that people want that.
Right.
But we're letting other people get in the way of that. We're letting like societal pressures or norms like get in the way. It's my hot take. That was deep, a little deep.
That was. I mean, it got me thinking about a few things. So, like, when it comes to like people that are a little bit older, I'm thinking like people like 60s plus. I think one of their fears in exercise is injury, right? Like, especially when it comes to lifting heavy. Like, that is like, oh, I cannot do that. I am too old for that. I will get hurt. And I think that's something we've got to like kind of break that barrier down of like, lifting weights won't hurt you. Like, sitting on the couch and not getting up and exercising is going to do more damage to you long term than getting up. And I'm not saying you cannot get injured lifting weights. It could happen. You could get injured walking to your car. You could get injured doing anything. So I think that's one barrier we got to move for that older generation. So like that's one fear, and I think that probably comes from maybe like societal pressure, like someone they know got hurt doing something, like, oh no, I can't ever do that. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's definitely a fear for like the older people out there. Would you agree?
I don't think a societal pressure applies there. That's my hot take. I mean, I like hearing your hot take. I don't think that people are out there like, oh my gosh, it's the world says it's hurts me to lift weights. I think like they've either had a bad experience with training, they did too much too soon, which a lot of people do. They did it incorrectly because they went in too hot. We know people start something new and they go run 10 miles and then they're sore for 17 days and they're like, I'm never going to do that again. So we know that happens. So I don't know if it's what people's just belief around exercise is. So much is just not being educated and knowing how to do it the appropriate way.
Right.
And then the flip side of that too, or I don't know if it's flip side, but the instant gratification in our world. So, I worked out one time. Why don't I ate a salad. I should be, 10 pounds lighter. Why aren't I instantaneously feeling better?
Right.
We know, and we know this because we talk about this in our business. We're constantly doing new shit in our business that we've never done before. And it's very, very uncomfortable to be uncomfortable. It sucks to feel stupid. It sucks to be using a new platform online, you and I, and figuring stuff out that we've never done before in our past life. Because it's really easy for people, and this is why people stay in the same careers for forever, because it's really hard to feel stupid in a new thing, in a new field. Right. So for these people that maybe have been out of it for so long, the longer that you wait and put it off, and then you're 65, then you're like, oh my God, now it's been 40 years since I've worked out, or 20 years, a long time. And I don't know if I just don't want to be uncomfortable. And it does suck for a few weeks when you first start working out, or it sucks for a few months, to be honest. I just posted about this. I'm going to talk about my face again on this podcast, but I went through a very traumatic experience doing a fucking chemical peel on my face, which totally sucked. And I'm not here to talk about the details. But the idea of it sucking for a little while for it to ultimately get better is the whole point. And I think fitness is like that too. We want to be comfortable. We want it to not be hard. And it just is. Even if you're coming in as a beginner and doing easier types of workouts, they're not easy. It's still working out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Any workout can be hard.
Any workout can be hard. Work is work. Work can be fun, but work is work because it's work. Yep. So I just think that people are very, very afraid, of being uncomfortable, fear of what other people will think of them if they're uncomfortable. Oh, I'm at the gym in front of other people. I hate when other people are looking at me, or I don't know how to use this machine. I'm not faulting anybody for any of this stuff, but we're getting in our own way because we are true. It really comes down to being afraid of what other people think, which is ironic because then it's people are also feeling like they're being judged based on their appearance and how they look and their health. And so it's like picking the lesser of two evils. So you just get back to choosing your hard.
Yep.
Choose your hard because it all is hard.
Yep.
Getting up and working out is hard. I mean, I've been going through cycles in the last couple of years of just not liking training at all for a really long time, but you just kind of get yourself back into it and just choose your suck.
Right.
You choose your suck. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if it's what people, but I like your take. People are afraid of injury. I think that's real life. I do think that's real life. I just think that we're not educating people properly, for sure. So that is definitely real life. But, I don't know. I think that's just an excuse that's not really valid. That people, I don't know if they really believe it.
What is Hormozy? If y'all can't tell, we're big fans of Alex Hormozy, but he makes a post regularly about what people think about you, and recently he compared the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. He was she ruled England for
he talks about death.
70 years or whatever like that, and then after she died, he's when's the last time you thought of her? He's so do you think people are going to care about you in a couple of years when you pass away? There'll be a few, but probably not.
Totally.
So no one's going to judge you. So get out there and do the things.
I love his take on death and thinking about it. And he's always saying how he associates a lot of his just day-to-day beliefs with thinking about death. And at first it's what the fuck? But it's totally think about.
Well, that's what big successful people do. It's that's the only
thing bigger than themselves.
Yeah, they have all the money. The only thing that they want now more is time.
Right.
And so death is the end result of your time.
Totally.
So
totally. But if anybody who's been up against their own life and death situations or their health, you can put yourself in your own experiences or something that's been very traumatic to you, and you're thinking about that compared to, oh, I have to give a presentation today, or oh, I have to go work out for 40 minutes today. It's in perspective to the things that I've lived through, it's really not that big of a deal.
Right.
It's just not that big of a deal.
Right.
And I mean that in a very real life, not a careless way. It's not that big of a deal. I used to say that in some of my classes when I did a lot of group X. I just would be guys, seriously think about right now, how you're so dramatic in your head about how hard something is, and then it's is it really that big of a deal?
Yeah.
No,
no,
it's really not. Yeah. We've all been through things that are a lot harder than these small little habits that we kind of like psych ourselves up for, and we get in our own way.
Right. I mean, I like to think about it this way when I think about like training age or like my actual age is like, instead of my age from the date I was born, I'm thinking about my age from like how many years I have left till I'm going to die. Right. So I guarantee you when I was in my mid-20s, I was closer to my death age than I am right now. And I've like worked it backwards.
Totally.
And everyone can do that.
They make calendars like that now. Have you
seen? Really?
Have you seen those?
Oh, that's wild.
I think Peter Attia has one on his wall, and it's a big grid, and it's how many weeks, because days, would be a tremendous amount for most people. Mm-hmm. So let's just, if it predicts your age or whatever, 85 years old, it literally like counts down like an advent calendar for Christmas, but it counts down the weeks of your life left.
I don't know if I could.
I know, and no, it's I don't know if I would want that, but it is. He's like, he got, someone like him, he like comes up against it every day, and he's like, it's on my wall, he's like so savage about all that shit, but he's like, it like keeps me in check, like the same thing where he, and he's shared a lot about his mental health journeys recently on recent podcasts.
I've listened to a lot of people.
Oh man, like, and it's cool hearing someone like him talk about it, but who's so brilliant and so smart, but definitely has some stuff like we all do.
Right.
But I don't know if I would particularly want like a wall calendar of like you and I's like but I'm here for it. It's intense.
Yeah, I mean, it is the biggest motivator, right? Like, especially to be healthy and like get yourself like together. It's like, how much long, and he talks about your marginal decade a lot. So like your last 10 years that you're going to be very functional, because like he plans on like your last 10 years, you're not doing a whole lot like you are now. So it's like, how many years until I get to that marginal decade can I be very successful? And for me, I'm like, how can we roll that back or keep that from coming up really fast? And I think a lot of this, what I've talked about a lot during this conversation is people like older, but I want to talk about people that are younger.
Yes.
Like if you aren't doing anything about it, 30, does start to become older. Like things do start to decline. Like, I mean, then every decade, like after that, it's faster and faster if you're not taking care of yourself. But you need to get started at a pretty young age.
Yes.
I mean, like, what do they say? Like testosterone in men starts to drop like in their 30s. I'm not sure about women, but
I don't know about testosterone. It might be like age 30 for men, but I think that like the number as far as age goes, when we start to not progress or whatever metabolically or just whatever that when we're just kind of going on an upward trend, I think it's like 24 or 25 years old.
Yeah,
is when we kind of complete
peak and.
Yes, and then after
hang on to that for a couple of years, and then you start to kind of yes. I mean, I worked in the restaurant business for a long time, and it was just always so wild to me. Like some of the most beautiful people I've ever seen in my life would be coming in working there when they were 20 years old, something like that, and then I watched them get into the habit that you get into in the restaurant life, which is drinking. They usually pick up some kind of smoking habit, whether it be weed or cigarettes or something. They start treating their bodies pretty bad, and then I see these people, they're still in the business like 10 years later. I'm like, wow. You don't look the same, and it's not going to get any better if you don't change.
That's right.
Like you got to hold on to it. We all know that you got away with a lot of stuff in your 20s, especially your early 20s. But we're here to talk about training for a sport. Golf is a sport that is a very athletic movement, especially doing like a driver or a full swing, and then just standing there putting for a long time takes a lot of capacity and things. But your performance, when it starts to drop, it's not just going to magically bounce back. And same thing with like your life. Like if you're drinking and smoking and you got away with it until you're 30, and then all of a sudden you keep doing it, it's not bouncing back anytime soon, unfortunately. So we've got to do something about it.
It's use it or lose it.
It is use it or lose it.
It's use it or lose it.
What movie was that? Was that
I don't know. I just feel like
40-year-old virgin where he's like, is it true that if you don't use it, you lose?
It?
I mean, probably, right? I mean, yeah, for sure. Like if you don't use your muscles, they do go away. Like your lean muscle mass goes away, right? Like, I mean, if you don't use it and you sit around playing video games and drinking beer and smoking pot, your muscle does actually go away.
There
like,
it is.
Literally.
There it is. Well, no, I mean, use it or lose it can apply to so many fucking things, but our body is obviously no different. It's we can look at videos. It's cool to see movement videos of like toddlers. I think that's when I think seriously the age of 2 or something is when we we move the most perfectly. Like our just mechanics are so perfect. You can see little babies doing deep squats and happy baby, just no problem. They're just bendy and wiggly. And then like truly like we become, once you're a little kid, you already start to develop like weird things because you're sitting in chairs and watching video games. And I'm sure that age is getting younger and younger where we start to be like kind of hunched over and decrepit or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, these things can absolutely be worked on. And yes, we live in a society where we're not up and walking anymore a lot like we used to, or, you know, hunting and gathering and blah, 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 blah. So we do have to fight, probably be more subconscious, or not subconscious, bring it to our conscious and be more, what am I trying to say? More conscious about it, more aware about it to correct. But it's not to say that it can't be done.
Absolutely. I mean, so let's kind of use some examples. I mean, I think the easier examples are people that are much older, because obviously if an 80-year-old can do it, you know, then a 30-year-old can. So like, I like talking about that. Like, I mean, obviously I've trained many, many more people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s than I have in their, in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. There's just less people at that age that are willing to come see a personal trainer, I guess, or buy a program. There's just less of them, right? More people are more inclined at a younger age. So a couple examples. I've worked with a man who was in his mid-80s who had dementia, and we got him to improve. Granted, he didn't remember his workouts every time, which was always such an adventure. He would show up, tell me the exact same stories. You had to kind of keep him doing basic movements, right? A lot of machines.
Yeah.
You know, so like a leg press or like a seated row or something like that was pretty basic, you know, to like not like layer on all these extra complicated things for him. And, you know, he was sweet, man. He could like squat all the way to the ground, did all sorts of funny stuff. But I mean, I watched him get stronger and stronger and stronger. He didn't really notice it, but I was loading up more weight on everything every week. So that was really cool to see. And then he would start remembering me. I think he actually like did kind of like, you know, there are cognitive benefits to exercise. He wasn't a golfer, but I've had golfers in their 80s that did increase distance, and that's just through more strength. Like, you know, they were able to, there's moving in ways that they haven't moved in years. Like getting someone to squat all the way down. Granted, maybe they're holding a TRX, maybe they're squatting down to a box, maybe they're not holding any weight, but then I would get them to like throw medicine balls at me, you know, like boom, more speed. Just that neuromuscular connection just fires like it hasn't in years. And so and then we'd be on the driving range. Granted, he'd be like, how far are you hitting that club? Be like, my 8-iron. He'd be hitting his driver or something like that. But, you know,
same.
But, you know, but then what was his name? Tony. And then so like I fight a nasty slice. Anyways, now I call it a fade, but anyways, we call it a slice. But
it's a slice.
It's definitely a slice. I'm about to start working with a guy who said he's going to fix my slice. But anyway, so I'd be on the driving range with Tony, and he'd be like, "Do you mean to curve the ball that much?" I'm like, "No, Tony, I don't."
That's like those jokes when you bring your wife golfing or whatever, and are you supposed to hit it in the woods?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not supposed to hit it in the woods.
Why do you hit it in the water and no one else does? Yeah. Are they not playing the game right? Aren't you? Oh, it's you. No, but he'd be like, "Do you mean to curve the ball that much?" He said it very nice. You know, he didn't say like, "Why are you slicing it?" Like he just, but that's what he meant. And he like helped me and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, you know, like those are men like in their 80s that literally got improvements. And we got a guy that does nutrition with you and does training with me, and he's 72 now.
Yeah, he just went through a really crazy health experience, which I'm not going to sit here and unload, but he literally wrote us a note and was like, "You guys, like, I think that my health and where I'm at and the training that I've been doing with y'all for it'll be 2 years in January, is a testament to me being able to like fight this and get better and not get really, really sick." Yeah. Because, you know, if somebody's almost 73 years old.
Yeah, what he got could have killed him.
Gets hospitalized. Yes, if it's not good for any 73-year-old to get hospitalized. Like, we know your immune system truly does get weaker, like all these things. So for the fact that he was able to kind of turn things around and be emailing us about it, you know, he's fighting it. He's fighting the good fight. And he said, you know, I feel like this made me so much stronger and got me better quicker.
Yeah, and he's a true testament of like someone that's like, and he's a little shocked by how much he can lift.
Yeah.
Like, he deadlifts so much. He's like, should I actually be even doing this? Yes. He's like, is someone my age, like, can they like, and there's a barrier, like, and he's a brilliant man, and he's just like, should I, like, is this okay? Because, like, I'm deadlifting 275 pounds. It might even be more than that. I think it's 300.
I think he
last
broke
time I
3.
looked. Yeah.
If he told me correctly, yeah, which I'm sure he told me
Actually,
correctly.
I think that might have been his back squat. But
no,
yeah.
So anyway, this guy, yeah, he's insane.
And he's, early 70s. Like, it's crazy.
And wasn't really doing any heavy strength training before.
No.
Was sort of kind of enjoyed exercise and was just doing the wrong things. Lots of cardio.
I think I taught him to back squat at 70 years old.
Literally, and deadlift.
Yeah, and deadlift. And press and all that kind of stuff. And he just like...
And he also tracks his macros, uses an app, checks in on my portal. I mean, come on, guys. Like, he's 73 years old.
Yeah, and he's a man that has means, and he goes and drinks and enjoys himself, has wine, has like big steak dinners and stuff. Like
he does, but he's reduced his alcohol a lot. I never ask clients to do that, and always he got there himself. He feels better that way. He never realized he could feel that much better. This man's 73. He's sleeping better. This is the age where we hear where our sleep isn't as good. Like, I mean, it's wild.
And those are just a few examples, like, of people, let's say 70 plus. Because now, like, so now it's like the guys in their 60s and 50s, like, that's easy.
Right.
There's, those guys are even, they get results like that.
Absolutely. I think that's a great time to get results too, because typically these people have the means, they have the resources financially and the time. Right. Maybe they're not working 70 hours, 60-hour weeks. Like, they're in management or they're owners or whatever. They're almost retired. So they have like a really great opportunity to like shift. There's a chapter in your life that's closed. You don't have young kids anymore. I know that's we can talk about that too. But when you got 50s and 60s, you're not dealing with like new babies and terrible sleep schedules and managing your work life and all of the things. Like, you're in a good time of your life to make that shift happen, actually, in a lot of different ways, so I'm here for the 50 and 60-year-olds that are getting into it, actually. And I tell them that, like, in the beginning, because I want them in that mindset of like, it's been decades since I've looked this good or felt good, and it's impossible to turn around. Like, no, this is a great time for you, actually. Right. This is your time to be selfish, because you've given your whole life to your job or your kids or whatever, or both. Now's a good time to shift. To you. And can seem scary, but like, and I think of like our friends back in DC, our friends Deb and Carol are kind of fall into this group of, although they've always been like very active and taking care of themselves. Deb, for a really long time, didn't have any good balance. She's in her 70s. Terrible balance, was an endurance runner, hurt herself after doing tons of marathons, but then like got into doing like more strength training and like improved her balance tremendously, not having to hold on to something to stabilize. Like, I've seen that happen with her, and her body really shift in that way. She's built lean muscle, again, like having like more of a runner body that sort of over time just didn't develop a lot of lean mass, and then reversed a lot of that like in her 60s into turning 70. So these are just, again, examples of people that we know in our life. And I understand that that's the end of one, but the point is that you absolutely can change what's happening in your cellular makeup and shift your shit. Yeah. It's possible.
And, you get to keep doing the things you love to do longer and more frequently too. So we're talking about golf. You get to play better.
Yeah.
Play pain-free and play more and for more years.
Yeah.
So like, that's just, there's no downside to that.
That's right.
There's truly not.
Yes.
And I know like just people don't want to do it but really missing out. And it does like almost make me a little sad.
Totally.
Because like these people that I'm playing with are literally the nicest people. I mean, one of the guys like that I play with, he literally, you have to watch him because you'll be playing against him, and he drives a cart. He literally will get in front. If you hit the ball in the rough, he'll go help you find, like, it's a very nice thing to do. Go find your ball, and people throw a towel down by your ball, so that way they help you find it because they drove ahead of you because I'm walking. But he'll even go as far as like you'll catch him helping your lie.
Yeah.
He'll pull it up. If it's like down in a hole, he'll like kind of move it for it, like just to make it better for you. And you're playing against the man.
Oh, that's nice. So I do that to my balls anyway.
I know, but like that's how nice of a person he is, and it's like, man, like if I could just help you out a little bit here and like, get you a little stronger and like your golf shots be how they were maybe a couple of years ago or like, even like a year ago at this point, like I think that would just get you moving in the right direction. And that's really what we're here for, is like just helping people get better live better lives. And like, that's really what we want out of this podcast and out of our business.
It's so hard to want things more than people want them for themselves. And it's the hardest thing of being in this industry.
Yeah.
Because even when people come to you, even if a client is paying you and they're ready and they want it at that point in time, a lot of times it fades.
Yeah.
And you as their coach still want it for them.
Yeah.
And you want to work through the mindset stuff to get them there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, people just lose it. It's just something that's easily falls to the wayside for a lot of people. Even if you're a tremendous, amazing coach, it happens. And it's so hard to just be like, God damn it. you know, like this, it's because again, I think that, you know, life does happen, but this is our life. Our health is our life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's for some reason that people just don't make that shift into that mindset.
Right. And I was watching Lane Norton the other day. So I'm not a scientist, so I like following people that are scientists and hear how they review data, because then I can just repeat what they said, because it makes it so much easier for me than reading all these studies. But he said that like one of the easiest ways, and like the study recently showed that in as little as like 4 minutes a week of like just getting your heart rate elevated into like whatever, you know, to like, was it zone 4, like zone 5 maybe? But it's like, you know, do something pretty intense for only
it's
like
your VO2 max training, essentially, for people that aren't familiar with zones. But hard intensity 4 minutes a week.
Hard intensity 4 minutes a week. That's it. Like, literally get started. Don't even download all my programs. I'm not even here to tell you to do that. Like, if you're literally doing nothing and you need something, 4 minutes, high intensity, a week.
I know, but the problem, I'm gonna stop you right there. The problem with saying that is then that gets extrapolated into like new, you know, Us Weekly, and it's like, you only need to work out 4 minutes a week to get shredded, and it's like,
not to get shredded, to get started. That was my thing. Like, if you were literally doing nothing, like, just let's get you doing something hard for 4 minutes a week. That's like the babiest of baby steps I could possibly tell someone to do, but that's step in the right direction is what I'm trying to say.
It is. Anything is in any level of exercise, additional movement that's more than what you're already doing now is the right thing. Right. Going from 0 to 60, going from 0 to 100, it's never the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's not that it can't be done. It's just that you are going to burn out. Full stop.
Yeah. I mean, I golf with so many people every week that don't do a damn thing. I mean, but granted, they play golf, so that's better than nothing.
True.
And someone did ask me that. He was like, hey, does this count as my cardio because we were walking the course?
Yes.
And I was like, yes. But if you're really trying to like make some work on your cardiovascular fitness, we've got to do some things that are a little more intensity, like for the 4 minute thing per week. Because like, you know, walking the golf course is pretty low. I mean, what is it, like zone 0 or zone 1 or something like that?
Dude,
like
walking Meadowbrook and pushing a cart up and down the fucking hills, I'm gonna call that hard as fuck.
It's great. Hours? It is great, but we want to kind of we want to spend a few minutes every week pushing ourselves too.
We do. But for people that aren't there yet, then adding a couple additional walks throughout the week instead of 1 round a week is going to get them there.
Right. But maybe they don't have time to do a 4-hour walking round.
No, they don't. But there's a difference. See, that's where there's just nuance in the 4 minute study. There's a difference between intensity level and doing something that's like for your overall endurance.
Right.
Like we hear zone 2 all the time.
Right.
There's a difference between those two things.
Right.
But yes, it's important for us to push our cardio and like increase our VO2 max for what our individual, just again, it doesn't have to be a certain number, but individually, yes, it is important to hurt in the lungs a little bit, a few times
work the heart
week.
muscle a little bit.
Yes, it is totally. So yeah, like that guy, yes, that guy's doing his cardio, and then, but yeah, he could probably be pushing it elsewhere. But you could also say the same thing about pushing your heart rate. And this has been said, strength training and lifting heavy weights jacks your heart rate up. Mm-hmm. That's intense.
Right.
So it doesn't need to necessarily be a 4 minute interval on the air bike that you're dying necessarily. It can be, but a little bit of nuance. I just say that to make sure that we're not out here, because people are going to hear 4 minutes and be like, well, okay, all I have to do is 4 minutes of exercise every week. No, you don't, because it's also not going to negate, you know, sitting all the other minutes during the week either.
And my point of bringing that up was that you can make a very, very small step to get you heading in the right direction.
Yes.
I never want people to think 4 minutes is all you need.
Totally. No,
by this longest stretch of imagination.
No, this is why we do long form podcasting, because it's so important. What I just was meaning to say too was like, you know, you get that 4 minute workout is like what I see on like 17 magazine or whatever people are reading, and it's like, oh, well, this is it. This is what Barbie does for her workout, so I'm gonna do it. And it's like, God bless.
Right.
Like, no.
Well, it's like I want you to do that 4 minutes, so that way it can snowball into something bigger.
Yeah, and that's the big takeaway, I think, from this podcast. I think our takeaway is like, first of all, it can be done. It absolutely can be done wherever you're at. And I also want to give people who feel like they're hopeless that there is a chance. Like, and I know it's easy to look at people like us. I get it, where you're looking at people that are in fit bodies and it feels like that they've looked like that their whole life and they've never gone through any sort of struggle. You've been very open about your journey with alcohol and just your years of just not really taking care of your body for a really, really long time. Mm-hmm. I've been pretty open too about going through multiple surgeries. I have not had an easy health life my whole life. I've fought the good fight in that way too. All the medications, all the bullshit that has been sidelined me multiple times. So it's like, I think it's important to talk about that, because it's easy to look at anybody where they're at and be like, wow, they have it easy. You talk about that all the time. Mm-hmm. Or it must be easier. It must be nice. Mm-hmm. We've all kind of gone through it. Everyone's got their shit. Everyone has their shit. Playing victim or acting like you're some special case of those people can do it, but not me. Like, it's just not going to get you anywhere. So be in that. Because that fucking sucks mentally to just be in that. Mm-hmm. Not going to get you anywhere. No matter how victimized you are and how many things that have happened to you, the only person that can get yourself better is truly you. That's it. And there are resources out there. There are good things out there. There's free stuff out there for you to get started. And I think just getting started and pushing yourself in a direction that's 1 degree better than where you're at now is really it. Walk more, drink more water, look at a gym, go walk in one and like sniff around, talk to a trainer. Like seriously, like what's that thing where they say the 10-second habit or whatever to get people into the habit? You just like wake up and put on your running shoes and that's it. You're not even committing to going on a run. You're just like getting yourself in the habit of doing something. And then it turns into like, oh, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to put your yoga mat out. Oh, I'm going to stretch for 5 minutes, or just, It is that simple. We all know how compound interest works. Yeah. It's the same thing in our bodies and our health. Eat a vegetable, eat some meat, get some good sleep, and shut up.
I knew you were going to throw the and shut up.
I had to do the Mark Ripito at the end.
I knew it was going to be eat the meat and shut up somewhere in there.
Eat some meat and shut up. Girl dinner. I think we're going to roll right into obsessed with this week. I'm obsessed but not obsessed with. I'm doing girl breakfast because I'm so sick of this girl dinner perpetuating the internet, right? It's like, and listen, some of the videos on the internet are funny as hell. Like some of the reels with girl dinner. Like I saw this gay guy, he's like very popular last night on his reel. And he's like, there's like a hotline and he's like, girl dinner hotline, how can I help you? And this girl's on the other line. He's like, okay, so what do you have in your fridge? Okay, 3 White Claws, a cucumber from last week. And like, just like stupid. And it's funny, but like, God damn it, y'all. Like, we don't need to be doing girl dinner, which is just an excuse to have like not eat appropriate meals like for dinner, or have appropriate groceries, or fuel ourselves, and just have a excuse to snack more every day and not eat a normal full size 800 plus calorie meal. So anyway,
I did see that like with the dog, like if you. How you know, like your mom's dog or whatever it is, like you do girl dinner with her.
Oh, that was, I think I sent you that one last night, because the dog was like, "Ooh, but we like this. We like this."
He's like, "But it's extra snack, so I don't care." Ooh, cucumber.
Yeah, like, stupid. But yeah, I mean, girl dinner can die. I'm like anti-obsessed with girl dinner, and I'm bringing back girl breakfast because we know I eat like some pretty ridiculous, like I eat literally like chicken thighs and vegetables or steak and stuff for breakfast because I'm hungry when I work out in the morning, and I think girls need to learn how to eat appropriately.
Well, Squat eats beef and russet potatoes and carrots and stuff for breakfast every day.
People feed their children. I mean, baby food is mushed up carrots and peas, and we all of a sudden we turn into adults and we're like, oh, ew,
cereal.
I need to eat a piece
donut.
Of cereal. Yeah.
And there's so many donuts. Like, I mean, just in our
What do we drive? 7 minutes to the gym and pass like 6 donuts?
Three donut. Wait, no.
Krispy Kreme.
4 donut places.
Is there a Daylight? Oh, Daylight.
Daylight, Jams, Krispy Kreme, and then I think there's like another one down there on Mingo that's...
I thought it was a Coney
there's a
Islander.
cupcake place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We travel like 2 miles to go to the gym, and it's so many.
So many sweets. And they're open. I mean, granted, we did go once to get post-workout.
Post-workout. I miss doing that with you because we did that when we went to CrossFit a lot in 2018.
We would do the Krispy Kreme.
Because it was a long drive for us too, so like it does suck when you finish a hard workout. We would work out and we would lift after CrossFit, so it'd be like 90 minutes, and then the drive was like 30 minutes.
Depending, it could be longer,
right? And then so to get back into the city, so we it was awesome to like do like a post workout. That's the best time if you're gonna crush some, if you're gonna crush some sugar right after a workout is a great time because your muscles are like, like I could feel it. Like you just feel it. Your body digests it so much better. I know it's a good time when my stomach doesn't really hurt after eating like a sugary something. Cause I'm like, whoa, my body just like ate it right up.
Yeah. We just sucked that in.
No big deal.
Yeah.
We were like, Krispy Kreme light is on. We're going in.
Oh yeah. When they were hot.
When they're hot. Yeah.
They're different when they're hot. They're like they dissolve in your hands even.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like that just melts in my mouth and then it just melts into my body and my body's like, yeah.
So do you think it's like the way it absorbs into your body, like it absorbs into my hand just because I'm also like craving it? So like absorbs into my hand when I grab it because it's so soft and mushy.
Well, fat, when it gets heated up, what does it do? It melts. Yeah, so that's how it happens.
Fascinating. Oh, is it my turn? Do I got to do what I'm obsessed with now?
I mean, maybe you're also obsessed with girl dinner. I don't know.
No, what's funny is like I hadn't had anything planned for what we're obsessed with this week, but when I just think about it real quick, I'm like, oh, well, basically social media will tell me what I'm obsessed with, and apparently I'm obsessed with the NSYNC reunion.
Oh, of course you are. Oh, you mean like what your Find Me or whatever page?
Like my feed is
page?
just all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap! I just watched another 2-minute clip of NSYNC from 2000 dancing around on the stage and singing, and I'm like, crap! I just watched another one.
Oh my! Yeah, you're definitely more into that than I am. That's hilarious.
I would totally go. I mean, honestly, you know what? I did not really listen to. Maybe I.
Yes,
maybe
you did.
I did.
You love Justin Timberlake.
I love Justin. I love Justin Timberlake after with Justin Timberlake solo.
Okay.
I was like, when I was a '90s kid, I grew up like Nirvana, 311, Incubus. Like, I liked my '90s like grungy rock bands.
Yeah, but 2000s was NSYNC.
And so are like those bands. I mean, not Nirvana, but like some of those. Like,
yeah.
I'm a huge 311 fan. I liked my alternative rock.
Yeah, I like Fall Out Boy would be my like NSYNC equivalent, and they're still around.
Rage Against the Machine was huge. Like Korn, like those were Limp Bizkit. Like those were my bands, right? And maybe my buddies would have made fun of me if I listened to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. So maybe I did that at home by myself. I don't know. But anyways, because I do catch myself like enjoying it. I'm like, man, these guys like could dance. They were literally singing because you can tell they're out of breath when they're singing up there. And I was like, okay, maybe if they do a reunion tour, I might have to go check that out.
I think we just crave, and I'm not judging, by the way. I think it's great. Because at this point, I think, speaking of getting older, now maybe we're going to fall back on our word a little bit, but something about nostalgia a little bit.
I love nostalgia.
Yeah, I know you do.
I'm huge. Like I would literally, if someone creates a city that literally is 1990s, like where everything is like no internet, I will go buy a condo there and I will live there periodically.
Like we'll basically go live in Seinfeld.
Yeah, totally. I would go. I will go watch commercials. I don't give a shit. I will get rid of my phone. Like I'll
Cody
hire someone to do my.
Cody is an old man.
Like I would love to go back in time. Like I mean, someone posted too, and like maybe I think this is just my social media feed now because it's like they know that I love the '90s nostalgia shit, and it's like, oh, can we go back to like malls looking this way? It's like the decor from the '90s.
Yeah,
I'm like,
in the malls.
I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Like I love that. Like I would go back right now.
Nobody needs malls. Nobody needs Pennies and Strawbridges and all of those terrible places. Whatever. I'm not here to shit on you're obsessed with. I think a 90s town actually would be really cool. Maybe those exist.
I bet they do.
I'm sure they do.
Where like you don't get cell phone service in there. There's no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Like they swipe your credit card on that like thing, like from Home Alone. It's like, whoa, it worked. But yeah, take me back. Let's go.
That's so
well, that kind of relates to our theme today because like the only thing that's undefeated, right, is time. So
yeah, you can't get it back.
And maybe taxes.
We're not going to, that sounds almost like too political. We're not going to get into that.
They're pretty undefeated too. So,
well, I think that was a good episode for today, but I might be biased. We're always out here trying to help y'all and spread the good word. That's just what we're out to do. So hopefully you got a good nugget or two. And the best way for us to keep spreading the word is for people to share our nuggets. So share us.
Share us, and we've got tons of free downloads. If you need a workout, my Lift Heavy Swing Fast is like for those that are probably more intermediate. If you are brand new, and this theme of this podcast was mainly for people that are new that need to get heading down the right track, I've got a foundations that you can download for free, and you can try a workout and get yourself on the right track.
Yeah, find all that stuff at codywescott.com/links. If you go to our program page, you can also find all of our programs there that we offer. And with all of the programs that we offer now, we can safely say that we have a trial, a free download, basically, for all of our workouts, except body weight.
Yeah. Cody Wescott Golf.
CodyWescottGolf.com/links.
Yep.
Thanks. CodyWescottGolf.com.
I was like, did you buy a new domain? Is it just Cody Wescott now?
Links. Probably. I love buying domains. That's my favorite thing. I'm sure there's other people listening that do the same thing. I'm like, ooh, we got to make sure we get that one just in case.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur problems. But hope everyone has a good rest of their weekend, whenever you're listening to this. But we'll catch you next time.
Thanks.